From the Mac of All Trades studio in Fairport and driven by Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Welcome. Thanks for getting your pod on. Thanks for telling a friend. That's how we spread the word about the pirate ship. Follow us on YouTube at Billified. Instagram, Billified_pod, Bill Moran Radio. Bill Moran on Facebook. We're live there. We're live on YouTube right now. Lots of things happening, Danny.
A lot of stuff, Billy.
A lot of things
2024,
in the works.
Busiest year ever.
So far.
It's only February.
So far.
It's not even March yet.
Yes, we're doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's we got new lights in the studio. If you can see what a mess this studio actually is, and I'm embarrassed by it.
I told Billy you should get a green screen and do photos for like school pictures. Rent the place out.
I have so many lights, and part of this is for another project that's coming up that I've been talking about doing for years. Literally years I have talked about this.
Kabuki Theater.
And somebody came to me and said, I think you need to do it like this. And I went, that's a great idea. And so now I've got lights and different microphones and a new camera that'll be coming. And,
oh, really?
Yeah.
We're going to HD?
Well, you know what? The cameras we have are HD.
They are HD.
Yeah, and they're great, and they're great for the podcast. But this is more like still camera. This will be footage for other things. There's a whole, it's one of these things where you can sit around and talk about, boy, if I get, but
you got to do it.
Yeah,
you got to do it.
You got to do it,
or
and you've got to get up and you've got to do it every day, even when you may not feel like it exactly. Today was, kind of a logy day, rainy day, but you got to get up and go. And I'll tell you what, you get some satisfaction out of that. I don't need to get all preachy on it, but that's
why I tell myself every morning, tomorrow I lose the weight.
It's always coming but never here, Danny. Tomorrow.
That's right.
Tomorrow. Yeah. Well, look, I understand, but you'll lose it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you stay focused, buddy.
I will.
Just stay focused.
Kept my caloric intake down today.
There you go.
Very excited.
Yeah. That's not me.
Yeah.
I had a burger and ran into some fans at the pub that I stopped for a burger.
Could you sign my Guinness glass?
And and then when you were coming in here, I was complaining. I'm like, the Chinese food's taking forever. So I went off the rails a little bit today in my dietary stuff. I went off the rails yesterday.
Progress is not linear, Billy.
No, it is not.
My goal is to get light enough to eat whatever I want, which will get me right back to where I am.
Right, I know. Well, that's the thing is like, when we look at all these people that are great, we look at all these people, go, God damn, man, look at that guy.
Yeah.
Tom Brady played for 20 seasons in the NFL. Kobe Bryant was amazing. I mean, he just, all this stuff. And I go, yeah, but they did something you were not doing. They were sweating it. They were putting it in when no one was looking. They were up at 4 o'clock in the morning doing the workouts in the gym.
Oh, the stories about Kobe and Jordan are legendary.
It's sick. Now,
where,
I don't know about...
Where the first guy arrives at Lakers practice after Kobe.
Yes.
Kobe's leaving at like 6 a.m. I already got my workout in.
Right.
See you, fellas. And they thought that they were getting in early.
The weird part is, like, with Kobe, I don't remember hearing those things about Mike.
No,
I never heard about Mike working like that. He must have, and he must have had unbelievable discipline. But we didn't hear it. Kobe, there's all these, he sat down and did tons of interviews talking about Mamba mentality in his book and all this stuff. And Michael didn't.
I think that's partially why Kobe's not here with us anymore. I think he told the helicopter driver, damn it, we're going. We got practice.
Very well could be.
I'm serious.
Very well.
I'm not joking.
I think there were people who have said that.
Because they grounded all the planes and all the helicopters in L.A. that day, including the cops. But with Kobe and Jordan, Kobe went to Jordan and asked him to a point where, like, he'd be texting Jordan at 2 a.m. Jordan's, like, trying to sleep, asking about, what do you do in this situation? What do you do here? What do you do here?
Right.
And the Jordan stories are famous. When he didn't get onto his varsity team, which, by the way, he was a sophomore in high school. He wasn't a junior.
No.
So, like, usually sophomores don't play varsity. But yet, the coach told him, you want to come and work out with me every morning? I'll get you ready for this varsity team. Yeah. And he went in every morning at like 6 a.m. and worked with the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was just motivated.
That's the thing. And
Jordan even made up stories about people to get motivated.
But it's so I know that's sick. It's sick.
Like there was this one story about this young kid with the Cavs or something.
Yeah,
and he
turned out it was all made up.
All he said was "good game, Mike."
Yeah,
because he outscored him, and they had a home and home. And I took that personally.
Well, the story that I love is they're playing on the Dream Team, and maybe they were playing Puerto Rico. I don't remember the team they were playing. Chuck Daly
it was because it was the America's tournament to get into the Olympics.
So it was Chuck Daly was the coach.
Yeah.
Michael and maybe Charles had gone out and played 18 holes of golf. And then they finish up, and Mike goes, I'm going to do another 18. And Chuck's like, hey, you got a game tonight, man. You got to rest up. He goes, I'll be fine. Game time comes. We're all there. Chuck's giving out, hey, you're on this guy. You're on this. Michael, you got this. He goes, no, I don't. I got him. And he goes, no, you got. He goes, no, I got him. He said something about me in the press, and Chuck goes, it was insane. It was insane. He goes, the guy, you know what I mean? The guy is, and you've got to be just like somebody said to me the other day, like, I don't know anybody that's doing a podcast. That's all they do. That's all I do. This is it. Right, but it is
animal mentality.
But it is a all day process. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say that no, it's a very different thing. But I'm just fucked up enough to make it work. Michael Jordan was just fucked up enough.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like he went after Chuck's like he went after this kid. He's like. No one even knew who he was. He said something in the press about Michael. Michael kept going, don't keep my name out of your mouth. Don't ever let my name leave your mouth. And he's going, I'm like, holy shit. But you never heard about the workouts and stuff with Michael as you did with Kobe. And I wonder if that's just the time that
Jordan was
they played versus
very private guy. He didn't want anybody to know what he was doing because then, well, you're Michael Jordan. This is what you do.
Yeah.
They might copy you.
Yes.
And then eventually beat you at your own game. Because he was asked once in a one-on-one situation, who could beat you? He goes, well, Kobe, because Kobe knows all my moves. Kobe stole all my moves, so Kobe could beat me. But I could take out Magic, I could take out Bird, and I could take out LeBron.
Yeah.
But Kobe would beat me. So it was kind of like, I think he gave Kobe a nod because Kobe kept pestering him and asking him. Now, Jordan was already retired at that point, but he could give it, he turned it over to him, But like, there's a guy who does a CIA who's a CIA guy who does a podcast, and he talks about one of the first things they teach you in the CIA when you find a highly, highly, highly successful, motivated person.
Yeah.
They believe that something happened in their life early where they have to prove some trauma where they have to prove something. Yeah. You? Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Right. There you go.
I mean, yeah. But I don't know that I'm highly motivated like that. I mean,
You're motivated enough, Billy. We're here.
Enough. Danny, this weekend for you, big anniversary, right? You and Beth?
2 years with my boo.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Today, the 44th anniversary of this.
At the Silk. Now Petrov controls. Back to Varlamov. Skating in on the left side. Into the American end. 55 seconds. But Mikhailov has the puck. Mikhailov sweeping in. Out in front. Backhander goes wide. I think Craig might have got just a piece of it. Mikhailov. Back out to Billified. 43 seconds remaining. Morrow checked into the boards. It comes back to center ice. 37 seconds left in the game. Petrov with it. The Americans on top 4-3. Long shot. Craig able to get a piece of it to sweep it away. 28 seconds. The crowd going insane. Varlamov shooting it into the American end again. Morrow is back there. Now Johnson, 19 seconds. Johnson over to Ramsey. Billified gets checked by Ramsey. McClanahan is there. The puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Silk. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
And the thing that's so outrageous is that wasn't the gold medal game.
No,
that was
wasn't.
not the gold medal game, but that was the game they needed to advance, and I think it was Sweden was next.
Yeah,
it
may have been.
I think.
Or maybe it was
remember.
Finland.
It was 1980. I would have been 9 years old. I remember this being talked about a lot. I thought the game was like at 4:30 in the afternoon, if I'm remembering.
It was, and it was on a tape delay.
Yes, it was on a tape delay.
So they heard this ovation coming in Lake Placid.
Yeah.
People walking down the street from the arena. and they couldn't get into the arena because they didn't have a ticket, so they had to go find out what happened.
Right.
And the story was like they went in and watched the game on the television and saw the result.
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
I know, but it was funny because you had sent me the reminder to that today was that. So I looked up the audio, and you hear Al Michaels, right?
Yeah.
Making the call.
They asked him in Miracle, the movie Miracle, which was a Disney movie.
Yeah.
And at the time, Al Michaels had worked for ABC, which is owned by Disney. And they asked him, could you redo the call? And he said no. Not because he wanted to, he was like, no,
I just can't get back.
He goes, you can't recapture that magic.
You can't.
It was spontaneous.
Yeah, right.
You know, I just said it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you can hear it.
Yeah.
You knew that was not a pre-planned thing.
Yes.
He didn't. It was in that moment. He goes, do you believe in miracle? And you could almost, I get chills when I hear it now, which is so weird because I don't really get chills for things. But you had written a couple things to me today about this. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that reading your stuff and thinking about this, and it'll tie back to something that happened with the Copcast earlier today, was I go, man, this country needs a unifying, positive moment.
I tweeted that today, actually.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
I tweeted, I go, could we use a moment like this? Like, I don't know, right now.
Yes, that's interesting. Okay, because I shouldn't give away my secrets, but a lot of my Twitter stuff is I aggregate. I just load it up at night, and it spits it out throughout the day. So I don't go on X an awful lot. So I did not see that. But I'm thinking we need a unifying but positive moment. You can go back and go, well, 9/11 was very unifying. Yes, and it was also extremely tragic.
Yes.
So that's not what we want. We need something that's going to be unifying behind that. And the great thing about sports is it's not politics, and you can all get behind it. But we used to have, like when I was a kid, Reagan didn't like Russia.
No.
No one liked Russia. This happened, and we were all happy because you beat Russia.
Right.
Right? Those commie bastards. Yeah. Those pinkos.
We defeated the great Satan.
This was the thing. And I feel like now, I don't know, there's certain people making, I think if you go to the New York Post today, you see Putin dumped his girlfriend, but in Russia they're making they're
body
making
pillows.
Body pillows so you can sleep with his girlfriend.
Yeah,
and they're all with her face on it, and she's fully clothed and all this, and it's just a pillow.
Yeah,
but I go, but that makes the guy almost likable in a way. And I know that there's other politicians or in the political spheres that don't think he's as evil or whatever. And I go, we don't have that unifying enemy. We're not even really necessarily unified on who the enemy of the United States is or isn't.
Right.
And there's all kinds. And I go, boy, you need that. And I feel like sometimes if you get that national pride back, I think it helps.
Yeah.
I think it helps. And I think sports are very important for those things, especially as I get older, because they're usually politically neutral. Not always, but usually, for the most part.
And it's a meritocracy, too.
Yes, it's
you
a
have to be good. Like right now,
good enough.
Here's a great example. LeBron James's kid.
Yeah.
There's talk that he may not even play in the NBA. Or at least he's not good enough.
Yeah.
And if he does, that means LeBron got somebody to play along.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's not qualified as of right now. That could change.
The kid won't have a great career after daddy retires.
Right, but the point is that in sports, you cannot cheat your way to greatness.
No, you can't. That's a great point.
You can't be, like, there's no Nepo babies in sports. Here's a great example. Jack Collinsworth is Chris Collinsworth's kid.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people rip on Chris Collinsworth. You don't get to be Chris Collinsworth, the broadcaster, without knowing a thing or two, okay?
Right, I agree.
Okay? And he still is at the top of his game. People hate him, but he's still at the top of his game. But his kid was awful. And his kid got replaced today on Notre Dame football by the guy who he replaced in Dan Hicks.
Well,
and the reason is because
the kid is also doing, like, NBC pregame.
Yeah, he'll still be doing that stuff on the.
But he's on a set with a bunch of people.
Right, but the point is that like you can't fool people for very long in sports.
No, you're right.
You can't do it.
Right
now, we're starting to when it comes to women's sports. Now they're starting to bend the rules a little bit. I don't want to go into detail on that. We all know what I'm talking about. You know, trans athletes. The situation. In our one of our schools here. But the point is that in sports, it's the ultimate meritocracy. And everybody, the big joke is that, it's not a joke, I should say, but sports are supposed to bring everybody together. Even though the Yankees and Red Sox fans hate each other, they break balls.
Yes.
You know, like only a few people are getting into a fight over a baseball game.
It's stupid,
over
but
a
if you
football
had
game. But you come together.
But Team USA, you would get behind.
Oh, absolutely.
And even if it had your favorite players. And that's sort of what I'm saying. And I feel like sometimes, too, because of all this division, we forget where we are.
Yeah.
Right. This is all you know. It becomes your normal, and when it becomes your normal, it's something that I think we take for granted. And the next episode of Copcast, which will come out in a couple of days,
Copcast,
is about the border. And they had
Wayne County?
a border patrol agent who used to work down in Arizona.
Oh, that border.
Yeah, and so they talked a lot about the border, and they kept it fairly neutral. I mean, just the number of people that are coming through and this sort of thing and that. And as I'm listening to this, and I did not chime in. I'm in the room. I'm making sure we're producing the podcast for them, but it has nothing to do with us. It's the Fairport Police and
brought to you by.
But it was an interesting conversation, and this person who was in here, who was a Border Patrol agent, talked about how the canyons along the border and when you're down in Mexico and how you can hide and how lonely and scary and you'd be there in the dark. And he's like, sometimes you'd see a group and you'd lose them in the canyons. You'd see a group coming through and you lose them in the canyons and you think, let the next guys get it. And then they go, yeah, but what if they're terrorists? What if they're something coming through? But they're not always terrorists. They're not.
A lot of people are really just trying to make a life for themselves. And this is the last place to do it.
And that's what I'm saying. And that was the thing is I go, how sad is this that you're willing to go through all this shit, all that shit to get here? Now, it is a process. We need to do something. And I don't know who politically is standing up to say we need to change our immigration policies and make them a little more unified or easier or I don't know what, but there's got to be some legal way to get in. I think it's like a 2 or 3 year process now.
Well, it's longer than that even.
I just remember, I remember what it was with people in my family at the time, and I know it takes a while. But that aside, then there's this guy's talking about, they picked up a Syrian on the border down there and somebody else. And I think that a lot of times, I don't know that we'll ever fix it because I think there's like this underbelly that's helping people get into this country and then having them work in private prisons and having them, you know what I'm saying? Like work and so you're getting into the country and once you're here, you're here. I don't know. But the only thing is that what I did take away and what I think of often is how good we have it in this country. And sometimes it's moments like the Miracle on Ice that remind us and make us feel prideful because it could all be propaganda, but life in Russia was always depicted extremely different and much less free, and I believe it still is.
Yeah.
Then we
watch Rocky IV for a review. They use steroids.
We have here in the United States.
Those commies cheat.
In the United States. But I go, boy, we lose that a little bit, and we don't realize how much people are willing to sacrifice to get here. Just to get here, just to try to live that American dream. And oftentimes, I've always noticed that, the people that had parents that came over, maybe your first generation in the United States, worked and had people in their ear going, you have an opportunity, you've got a thing. And you hear that. Now, sometimes it's tremendous pressure. I have people in my family who will tell me that, you people who immigrate to the United States, the families can go one of two ways. Overachievers, drug addicts. You could fall into that, right? And I think I mentioned that last night. But I go, boy, you're watching these people trying to get into a country that some of us seem to just want to go, you know what I mean? Fuck it. Oh, these assholes. But you have the right to say that, which is another wonderful thing in this country. I don't have to agree with anything you say or anything.
You can have it both ways.
But you can express it.
You can do that here.
Yes, but you can do that here.
I'm not a fan of this open border policy. I'll tell you right off the hop. But I understand why people want to come here. I totally get that. And 99% of them want a better life.
We don't really have an open border. The problem is, like these guys were saying, I mean, even Biden's going to, it's just that it's such a tough, it's so big. It's so big and so vast that it's hard to patrol. And sometimes he goes, back when he was doing it 20 years ago, he said sometimes our radios wouldn't work just because of the terrain. So we'd be calling each other. And maybe you'd have 5 guys on for an overnight shift in that area. He goes, but it's a huge area. That 5 guys are going to be able to watch this for people who really desperately want to come in. And I'm not even saying people that are going to harm us. potential, just desperately want to come in. But, there's all kinds of things now in the world. We had a pandemic just for health purposes and all that stuff. You want to be able to have something that's a little more unified and, and done the right way. And I think there's a lot of people, these guys were saying that have dual citizenship for Mexico and the United States. So they come over and they work in the United States and they live just on the other side of the border in Mexico. And they get very upset with the people who come in illegally because there are times the border's closed down and they can't get home or they can't get to work or they can't get whatever. And they went through all the they went through the 2, 3, 4 year process.
They paid their dues.
Yeah. I don't know, and I don't mean to get all political, but the one thing I would say is a unifying moment like that, it kind of gives you the pride for your country and reminds you what this is. And it was, same thing with Rocky, right? It was Russia. Russia was the enemy. We had a unified enemy who wasn't living the way we're living, not doing didn't have the same freedoms as us, didn't have the freedom of the press that we have, and all these things. And sometimes I think, boy, we just kind of stick our nose up at it and don't even pay attention. We've
gotten spoiled.
Yeah.
And like our generation really didn't have to fight for anything. Your generation, even the boomers didn't really have to fight. I mean, they went to Vietnam and everything else, but I mean,
what are you saying, Dan? We need another good war?
No, because I think one might be coming, and that's I'm scared of that. But like the World War II generation, our friend Tom Muley likes to call the greatest generation.
Yes,
Tom Brokaw wrote the book, and they were, because think about every aspect of their life. They had the Great Influenza, they had World War I, they had the Great Depression, right? Then they had World War II. Then they had Korea. Then they lived through all of it. And yet because of that, they were able to build this country up to a level now where all of a sudden, okay, it's time to take advantage. And Americana itself was this Norman Rockwell painting. And we weren't given the full history of, how the sausage was made. And now lately we're hearing that. And suddenly people want to say that, we should be ashamed of ourselves. I'm like, no, tell the truth, but be proud that this is the one place, if there's a place where you can fix those things, this is the only place in the world you can do that.
You can try, yes. You can try to fix it. Because God's
not making any more land to go discover. There's no more Columbus going. You know what?
I don't know. There might be
think that trash island in the Pacific might be navigable. This is it. This is it. And when the world grabs America and tries to kill us, we're screwed. The whole planet's screwed.
I think I hear what you're saying with this stuff. It
wasn't always pretty. I get that, but let's not make two wrongs to make a right. It's not gonna work out.
Well, and I also think that there's a number of people, like I said the other night. We hear an awful lot of the bad always with everything, and we don't focus enough on the good. And there are an awful lot of positive things happening, and people who are working to make this country better and trying to do that. But we get focused and caught up in these other things.
Because as Americans, we live at the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
So we have the luxury of bitching and complaining about how things aren't good enough. When the fact is, just go to Canada.
Well, yeah.
Go to Canada.
Yeah.
It sucks. I have a guy I work with who's American. He knocked up a woman in Canada 20 years ago, so they had a kid.
Slipped one past the goalie, eh?
Right, yeah, he did. He's a big hockey fan, too. I just got off the phone with him 2 hours ago. And he's waiting for the day where he can come back to the United States and live his life. He goes, because, man, during the pandemic, it was like lockdown central. You couldn't even go outside and smoke a cigarette without, getting the permission from the prime minister, But I'll say this. And my wife, during the pandemic, maybe it's 2020, 2021. I live in Henrietta, and every year Henrietta has a huge fireworks display. And we walked around the park, and Henrietta is probably the most diverse suburb of Rochester.
Okay, there's so many. True, yeah.
There's so many different walks of life in there, and I started tearing up.
I say Fairport isn't. Pittsburgh's not.
Mother of pearl, let's say. But in all seriousness, my wife.
Did you say you started to tear up?
Yeah. She goes, what's the matter? I go, look around. She goes, why? What's the matter? I go, this is America. This is what America's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Look at all these people celebrating America. I don't see anybody bitching and complaining. Everyone's having a good time. Look around, man. And she's like, you're getting really worked up over this. I go, this is my favorite holiday. I love this country. People are like, yeah, brother, yeah, that's right. I love this country too. Fireworks start at 9.
You're a fucking nut.
Yeah, I know. but yeah, it got to me.
Okay.
And the Miracle on Ice would have gotten to me if I were alive.
Yes,
I was almost alive.
I was 9, and when I hear it now, but all I could think of is you need that positive unifying thing. I think
Yeah.
we could all use that in this country. What that is, I don't know.
It's Josh Allen, Billy.
Maybe.
Josh Allen.
Maybe.
The Bills wear red, white, and blue.
Sports Illustrated.
We need to slay the Chiefs and win a Super Bowl, and that will unite America.
All right, we will take a moment. I don't know that it all started in America, but I often say the world is designed by geniuses, something my uncle had said.
To be run by idiots.
Run by idiots. And wait till you hear what the idiots have been doing around the world on the internets. We'll get to that next, but first.